Bum 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 bum. Hello, it's Just Gaming here, and welcome back to MXGP 2. And yes, it has been a bit of a while since I have done this game, but we are back for another video. The reason I've not been doing many videos on this game is because I've only got the demo version. I won't be getting the full game anyway, because I don't think there's no point in getting it. So that's why I've not been doing many videos on it. But today, we are back for another video, and today we're going to do a how-to video today. Well, it's not going to just say how to, it's going to be saying what I'm going to be talking about for today. So in the last one I did a 2-bike verse mode. I think I did 2 bikes versus 2 mode, and I basically kind of explained of what the 2 bikes are powered on. And yeah, today we're going to do a how-to. By the way, this will be on next week as well, and next week's one's going to be a little bit different, so I'll kind of explain probably next week's one right at the end of this video. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about how to overtake a rider smoothly. So basically, another on MXGP, you basically start on a track, and it's quite hard to overtake people. I know that on the MXGP games it is a little bit more, a little bit better than MXGP, but I'm just going to show you guys how to do one very smoothly. And I know that I've been playing this game a lot, and I've been getting a bit aggressive with all of them, because technically they're all AIs. And so hopefully it's going to be really good. So yeah, we're going to do 2 tracks. I'm going to say actually how many overtakes I can do in the game. So let's go straight into MXGP. Oh, give me a second. Alright guys, I'm back. I just go and get me tea. Okay, right, yeah. So yeah, we're going to be mainly talking about the corner speeder. We're going to be mainly talking about, like, corners. So yeah, let's go and get into it. And we are going to be my own rider, just because we're not being official ones. So it's going to be my own rider. And yeah, we are going to do 2 tracks each. So we're going to do one on the Yamaha and one on the bike. So we'll start off with the Yamaha first. So we'll start off with the Yamaha, and then we'll do one on the on that one as well. We'll start off with this track, and we'll do that one afterwards. Race options, we can't do that, so we only get 3 laps, and then you just need to change that to easy. I don't really need rewinds on, just because I don't really need them on. Okay, and we are ready to go. Let's go and get on with it then. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, today I'm going to be talking about actually how you can do it very, very well. So we're going to be talking about basically how you do it very well around corners. Because one thing I've noticed about MXGP as well is it's quite difficult to overtake a rider when you go around the corners. So today I'm going to be talking about mainly the corners, because basically there's a lot of people that kind of overtake them from the corners. I'm not going to really talk about it from the long straights because that's pretty easy. So I'm just going to work on the corners. That's what I'm probably going to work on. So we're going to talk about actually how you can improve it on corners, and I can improve it on different sort of tracks in the game. So yeah, that's going to be the aim for it. And then next week's episode is going to be a lot bit more different. I kind of explain next week's right at the end of this video. But it is quite easy to overtake a rider, but basically when you go into a corner, it's a bit different because you collide with one of them and then that crashes and all that. But I'm going to try and see how smooth it goes, because it might be a little bit rough on a smooth, but hopefully it should be quite good. Let's get into it then. There's actually no settings that we need to, might as well just get straight into it. And here we go, let's get into it then. Just going to see how we get on. So it's going to be quite smoothly. I'm not sure how smooth it's actually going to be, but hope it's going to be smooth. Here we go then. Hope it's going to be really smooth anyway. So the most important thing you need to talk about on a smooth track is a lot different. So yeah, so I'll kind of show you now. So you can see, you see what I mean, every time when you bump into someone, yeah. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about actually how you can really smooth it. So the best idea to do it is going around corners. So you see what I mean? I've done a nice overtake there. So mainly it's about overtakes. That's what they're mainly. So overtake a rider in a corner. It's pretty simple. So I know that I've done it a lot before. So what I mean, look at how smooth that was. So I'm going to do it completely smoothly. So I'm going to be going through of actually how smoothly you can overtake a rider. It is a little bit difficult to do it on corners anyway, just because basically there might be a few riders that sometimes collide into you, and sometimes there might be some riders that don't collide into you. So I'm not going to be going through all the instructions about when you overtake a rider, but you need to do it on a completely smooth line, because it's how to overtake one. If you guys do play any of these games, please let me know in the comments if you do. But I basically just want to show you in a video of actually how it normally works. So basically the way how you do it is you need to make sure that when you overtake a rider, you need to make sure that you do it completely smoothly. So basically when you overtake a rider, just don't do it really hard. See what I mean? I've done a really good overtake there. So you need to make sure that you do it completely, really smoothly. And I know it's a bit difficult on this game, just because basically there's some of the riders that are a little bit they are sometimes a little bit aggressive sometimes. So you need to make sure that you do it on a really good length. But I guarantee that the best to overtake a rider is in corners, because corners are a lot more corners are a lot more better to overtake a rider. But if you're doing it on a long straight, it'll be a lot more easier. But I'm mainly talking about the corners anyway, because the corners are going to be a lot more a lot more harder to overtake a decent rider. So basically that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So there's a few reasons you can do it. Number one reason is when you go into a corner, just do it completely smoothly. Number two reason is don't just crash into them. So basically just don't crash into them. You can crash into them a little bit, but just don't crash into them too hard, because otherwise you basically end up crashing them, or you crash as well. So it is a little bit difficult to overtake them, but just make sure that you're doing it in a completely good, nice, decent speed. That's what you need to do at the moment, because if you can do it like that, that is absolutely smoothly. So if you could do it in a completely nice speed, to be honest, I will work on it. I will work on all of you guys to do it. So to be honest, it's pretty easy to overtake someone anyway, but basically just try and do it in a completely decent speed. That's what I'm trying to figure out at the moment. So do it in a completely decent speed, and then basically when you've done that, when you've got the handle of it a little bit more, and then you can start overtaking a lot more people, and then you'll be able to get to the front pretty easy. Basically, I know that when you start from the back of the grid, or something like that, it'll be a lot more harder starting from the back of the grid, because you got a lot of riders to overtake you or something like that. So that'll be a lot more harder. But if you're starting from the middle of the row, or you're starting from the front row, and there's a few people that come past, just make sure that you do it completely steady, or or I should say. So like that's the few advices I'm giving you guys at the moment. Just because you need to make sure that you do it completely right, because otherwise, if you don't, you're not going to do it in a good righty sense. So just make sure that you're doing a completely good style when you overtake someone, and don't crash as well, what I've just done. So don't have a crash as well, otherwise you're going to lose your position. And just make sure that you're doing it in a completely good kind of style, because like basically, I know that I'm not a big fan at the moment, but like just do it in a completely good style, and then when you've done that, you'll be all happy to be able to overtake a rider that's a completely good, decent style. So yeah, that's my few point of views about how to overtake a rider smoothly. It is a little bit difficult though, because like when you're right next to a rider as well, it'll be a lot more harder, because like you're gonna bump into him, and like I know it's gonna be an accidental thing when you do end up bumping into him, but you need to make sure that you do end up bumping into him in a good style. So you need to make sure that when you do end up bumping into him, you need to make sure that you do it in a smooth way, so you don't do it completely difficult. If it's like a little bit of a tap or something like that, yeah, just make sure that you do it completely like smoothly, because otherwise, if you do it really hard, you're gonna crash that guy, and then you're gonna be a little bit wound up yourself, because like there's kind of a few people that like doing that. There's a few people in races where they just technically just overtake the rider. They're not really bothered about it, so they technically just overtake the rider, but they just do it a little bit difficult, and then they just overtake the rider from there. So just make sure that you're doing it in a completely good style, because otherwise, if you're not, it's going to be a little bit more harder to be able to basically overtake a rider that's like completely a really good style or something like that. So that's kind of my few points about overtaking a rider, and make sure you're doing it on a good course as well. Like make sure you're doing it on a really good course, so like the rider's not right next to you, so you can overtake him in a really, really good way to be able to like. And then when you've done that, you're in the lead, and then you've won it completely. So yeah, that's kind of my few point of views about it at the moment. Also, there's like a few corners that you need to watch out for as well, because basically the AI might be a little bit more faster than you, so like the AI sometimes crash into you if you're going a little bit slowly. But when you're doing that, you need to make sure that you do it in a good style as well. So you need to make sure that you do it completely as right as well. But yeah, basically they're all AIs anyway, so they're all pretty slow anyway. But you just need to make sure that you're doing a completely good style. And then when you've done that, you'll be able to like completely just maximize overtaking people, and then you could be able to like overtake a decent amount of people. So that's a few of my point of views at the moment. Also, if you've been an official rider as well, it'll be like completely the same, because I know that the riders do ride in a different style than me. So it'll be a bit different, a bit difficult if you are basically being an official rider. It might be a little bit difficult when you are being a rider. But basically, you need to make sure that you do it in a completely good style, because otherwise, if you do that, it'll be a lot more better to be able to like overtake a rider that's going to be really decent or something like that. So yeah, you need to make sure that you do it you need to make sure you do it completely in a good, like decent sort of a style to be able to like overtake like a decent person. I know that it might be a little bit hard on it at the moment, but like basically when you're trying to overtake someone, you need to make sure that you do it on a completely good like sort of a style, and then when you've got the handle of it, you'll be able to like get like right to the front, and then when you've done that, you can just leave, and then you can just like win the race from like miles, and then you pretty just won the achievement then. But like I'm going to talk about the point of views about from the back of the grid now. So like basically, if you have a poor result or something like that, and you start from the back of the grid, like it's going to be a little bit difficult from the back, because there's like so many riders. So like there might be a few riders that you can crash, but like that's fine, because you're not like crashing all of them. Like there's a few of them that you're crashing, and then there's kind of a few riders that you're overtaking. Like it's a bit easy to go in corners, because like the corners are so wide. So like if you go into like a wide decent corner, it'll be completely wide to overtake that person. So like when you're going into one, it'll be completely really, really wide to go into a decent corner. So like when you're doing that, it'll be completely easy to overtake a decent rider. So yeah, that's a few point of views at the moment about Overtake 1. I know it's not a lot bit impossible at the moment, but like basically when I'm trying to figure out this, it'll be a lot more slightly easier to overtake a decent rider. But it will be a little bit difficult to overtake one. But to be honest, I think it should be okay anyway. So yeah, I don't know how difficult it's going to be, but like starting from the back of the grid is going to be a lot more impossible, because like you need to make sure that you overtake a rider in a completely good sort of a style. So that's what you need to do at the moment. But yeah, that's kind of my few point of views about overtaking a rider. I know that when you're going over decent jumps, it's going to be a little bit difficult as well when you overtake a rider on a decent jump style as well. So you just need to make sure that you do it in a completely good style, because otherwise, if you don't, it's just going to be a lot more difficult. So and just make sure as well that you don't have a lot of crashes as well. So that's what you need to be aware of at the moment, because like if you have a lot of crashes as well, like you're just going to be starting from the back of the grid, and then you've got a lot of work to do to start from there. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to be able to overtake a decent rider. But I think, to be honest, it will be very easy anyway. Also, if the AI do get in the way, just barge them out the way. That's what I usually do if an AI does get in the way. I technically just barge the AI out the way. That's what I usually do at the moment. And that's what I have been doing recently. I just overtake a decent rider. That's what I've been doing at the moment, and it's actually not that difficult to overtake a decent rider. But like basically, like if you're being that sort of rider to overtake a decent person, you need to make sure that you do it in a completely good style. And that's what this video is all about. Just try and contain a decent rider to overtake a person, and then when you've done that, you'll be able to overtake a decent person to be able to do that. So yeah, but it is quite easy. I know that it might be a little bit difficult to overtake a person, but it's quite easy because like sometimes you might go a little bit crazy, what I've just done right now, into that corner. So it might be a little bit aggressive to like overtake someone. But like when you don't overtake someone, you need to make sure that you do it in a completely a decent amount of style to be able to overtake a person that's completely easy, or maybe the rider's completely being aggressive or something. So you just need to make sure that you do it in a completely good style to be able to overtake a rider, and then when you've done that, you've overtook a rider, then you're all done. So yeah, so that's my easy point of view is about overtaking a decent rider at the moment. And there is probably a few more point of views that I'm going to be going over, so I'm not going to make this too long, because otherwise I'm going to be rambling on about overtakes. So I'm not going to be going on for too long about it. But there is going to be a few point of views that I will be going over about how to overtake him smoothly. So basically, the way how you do it very smoothly is you just need to make sure that you don't go too aggressive on the riders, and you need to make sure that you do it completely steady, so you don't do it completely aggressively. So you just need to make sure that you do it in a completely good style without having too many problems. And you just need to make sure that you do it in a completely good style, so you don't overtake a person. And then when you've done that, it's all done basically, and then you've overtook a rider, and then you're all done. So just need to make sure that you do it in a completely good style to be able to overtake a decent rider, and then basically when you've done that, you'll be able to do it in a decent style to overtake a decent sort of a rider. So it might be like a little bit difficult to overtake one, but to be honest, it's fine anyway, because I don't really mind overtaking a rider that being a bit aggressive. Like, I've always been a bit aggressive on these games, but I've not been that aggressive. Like, I've been a little bit aggressive on these games, but I've just not been that guy that's like aggressive. I've just not been that sort of a guy that's like really aggressive or anything like that. So like, I'm a little bit aggressive sometimes, but I'm not really that aggressive to overtake a decent rider. So like so just make sure that you do it in a completely good style without doing it completely wide, and then doing a perfect race. And then when you've done that, you can overtake a rider in a completely good style, and then you pretty much performed it really, really well. So that's kind of the few point of views. Yeah, there is kind of a lot more. But yeah, I think that's probably all the overtakes I probably need to say. I know I've explained it a lot now. But yeah, I think overtaking a rider in a corner is going to be a lot more easier. To be able to, you need to make sure that you do it on a wide corner. So if you're doing it on a really decent wide corner, like that'll be the best to overtake a rider. So if you're not doing it in basically another rider, so if you're not doing it in like maybe a short corner, because there's kind of a few twisty corners as well. But like, I think the best idea is to do one in a really wide corner. So basically do one like in a really, really, really wide corner. I think that's probably going to be the best. So if you do it in that sort of a corner, that'll be a lot more better. So if you do it in a corner like that, that'll probably be a lot more better. So if you do it in a corner like that, it'll be a lot more better to overtake a decent rider. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's everything that I need to say about it. It is pretty easy if you're doing it yourselves anyway. But I basically just wanted to do a video about it, if you guys don't know about it, and I just wanted to kind of explain of what overtaking rider normally does. I'm not going to do a video like this on MXGP 18 just because MXGP 18 is a lot bit more easier than MXGP. So I'm not going to do one on MXGP 18 because like I do a lot of overtakes on that one, but like the overtakes are a lot more easier than what they are on MXGP. So kind of like the overtakes are a little bit more better to be able to do. But yeah, but I think they are pretty good to be able to like overtake a good decent rider. And then when you've done that, you've done it completely good style. And then when you've got the practice of it, and then that means you'll be able to do that in a completely good style to be able to overtake a rider that's completely brilliant to be able to do that. So yes, that's everything I need to say. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video of me talking about it. I'm going to try and do some more videos about these at some point, and also do some challenges as well. So hopefully there'll be a lot more of those I might end up doing as well. But yeah, that's everything that I need to say about it. I've kind of speak a lot about it, but I just wanted to mention it in a video because just because you guys don't really know about it. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. And oh yeah, by the way, something I've not said by the way is I'm gonna do custom thumbnails now for this race because I realised that it's got replay mode on here, and I do MXGP Pro with custom thumbnails on it. So basically, I'm going to be doing custom thumbnails for this one because like that thumbnail that I got a little bit bored of it. So I'm just going to do custom thumbnails because it has replay mode. So yeah, I'm going to be doing it on there. So yeah, that's everything I need to say about it. So I'm going to try and do some more videos about these how-to videos. And also I'll do some challenges and maybe some menu videos as well. So there'll be a lot more stuff coming up on MXGP2 that I'm going to be doing as well. And also some how-to as well. But overtaking riders is pretty good. And it's a little bit more harder. So yep, that's everything I need to say. So if you guys have enjoyed this MXGP2, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. So yep, that's it in here. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you later. Bye!